to The Mom's View. Today we have a special guest from Utah, right?
Yes.
And actually, Kaylee, will you introduce Mindy? Because I know you're very familiar with her work.
I would love to. This is Mindy from CuteGirlsHairstyles. And I'm really excited that you're here because I've been following you for a long time. And she's so creative and so fun. You have to go check out her channel. It's really fun.
You guys are sweet.
No, it's true. I saw you on Good Things Utah, which is a show just in Utah, a morning show, and you were doing a competition for YouTube.
Yeah.
So was that when you first started?
We'd been doing our YouTube videos for a little while before then, but YouTube finally, kind of got the magic numbers, and they put us onto their On the Rise program, which is where they pick 4 channels, and then they kind of have like a vote off for a week, and we won that, and then it kind of just went from there.
That's so awesome. I know I loved watching, because I went and looked at your channel and then watching it grow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You guys are doing amazing.
Thanks. It's been really fun. It's one of those things you don't anticipate happening, and then you just kind of have to roll with it. So you guys all know.
Yeah.
And might I mention, your hairstyle today is quite
So
fetching.
cute.
Why, thank you.
So cute.
Thank you.
How did you get the idea to even start with YouTube and start putting tell us about your children and how it all began.
Yeah, so I have 6 kids, and 5 of them are girls, and so we do a lot of hair in our house.
Yeah,
A
lots of
lot
hairspray and elastics.
Yes, a lot. And so we would just, I don't know, we were just always coming up with new and creative things, and people would ask us all the time, oh, how do you do that? How do you do that? So finally we were like, you know what, let's just turn on the camera, film them, put them up, and then we can just direct people to the videos. And at the time, it was almost kind of a joke, like, oh, well, family and friends will watch the videos, and it's just gone crazy.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I saw you on Anderson Cooper and how your husband was saying how some people were like, what are you doing? And he said, she probably does like better financially than most of you guys by doing YouTube videos. And I loved that. I was like, you go talk your wife up.
Especially, I think, for him, because he's a dad, he's a guy, and he's a pretty macho guy, so he knows a lot about girls' hair. We walk down the street, and he's the one pointing out the flips and the braids, and hey, check out her hair. So, he gets harassed a lot by his friends. Like, hey, you're the hairdo daddy. And he's like, my wife does better than you do.
Right. That's so awesome. I loved that.
You guys met when you were in New York, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was really cool. And we actually found out that we have so many different connections, back home. Like, her husband grew up 30 minutes or 5 minutes from where I grew up.
So
and
crazy.
We knew his sister and all this stuff. So
I think
it was really
my
random.
husband dated one of your sisters or something strange.
Yeah, such a small world.
Yeah.
And we're like, what?
Yeah.
And we met in New York. That was the first time we'd ever met.
It's summer, and a lot of talk is going on about summer trends, must-have things. What is happening this summer? What's in?
Colorful nails.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have colorful nails.
I did manage to get on that one. Yep.
All over feet.
Yeah. Look, they're almost all orange even.
I know.
I feel like with hair, and I don't know if you agree, but braids. I love braids. And braids.
Braids.
Yes, if you can do a braid, do it. And I think it's really fun for summer to do loose, soft, pretty braids. Like you didn't try too hard.
Yeah.
Daily did this braid.
And I would add to that just on the cutting edge of twists.
Yes.
So lots of twists. Same thing with braids, but twists.
I feel like when I try to do a messy braid that looks like I didn't try too hard, I try really hard and it still doesn't look that way.
Put as much work into it, and then it doesn't look right anyway.
I know, right?
I love all the colorful pants that are in the pastels and the brights, and then I've heard the shark bite dresses or the high-low. They're higher in the front, and then they go down longer in the back.
Don't you love the maxis?
Yes.
Maxi dress.
So nice.
Always.
So comfortable too to travel. I
So-
loved flying in them because it's cold on planes sometimes, and you don't want to pack a blanket, so you can, your dress goes all the way down. If you're hot, you can scoot it up a little bit.
But then they're nice in the warm weather because the breeze still kind of blows
Yeah.
up and keeps your legs cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a lot of daughters and you do hair all the
Yes.
time, obviously. How do you get ideas? Like, do you run out of stuff all the time?
No, surprisingly, I swear there's, magazines, TV, the mall, my girls' schools,
Yeah.
Pinterest nowadays. I swear, some days I'm like, I have so many ideas in my head. I just can't film them fast enough.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's better than not having, I'm like, what should I
Yeah.
film today?
Yeah. Well, then you have those days too. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, what should I do today? I don't know.
How do your daughters deal with it? Do they enjoy it or do they get, because my daughter's like, I don't want you to do my hair again. She hates it. Do you girls enjoy it, or?
I think they're so used to it. And my older girls now are starting to transition to where they're doing their own hair. So unless we're really filming on them, they do their own hair, which has been nice because then they watch back my videos and learn how to do things on themselves. So it's kind of fun.
They're going to be
They
experts.
like it.
Has
Yeah.
that been hard for you to let them do their own hair and like
Yes.
see them walk out and you're like, that's not how it should look?
Especially now that we're getting a little more recognition because people expect.
Oh, right. They think that
Great
maybe
hair.
you did it, but they did it.
You're like, just a disclaimer, they did their hair today.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
trying.
So it's like, oh, are we going outside today? Okay, how about not that one? You know?
Try again, honey.
Yeah. So yeah, I have to kind of take a deep breath sometimes. Mom first, mom first.
How do you actually schedule? I know everybody balances like taping, especially when they're taping their kids or their lives and trying to hit a consistent schedule. How do you balance those things? How do you structure the tapings?
We usually do ours on weekends, which is when my husband's home and can film because we're still, you know, a little one-man crew, two-man crew.
Yeah.
So just weekends, that's when we try to bust it all out, and we try to do it on usually Saturdays or Sundays. Most often Sundays.
That's great. Well, should we take a question from a viewer?
Yes. Sure.
Pink Smiles Rock asks, would you become your child's best friend? Also, what would you do if your child became close with another child who was a bad example?
My knee-jerk reaction is no on the friend thing.
I'm becoming your child's friend?
Yes, because
Okay.
I'm their parent. And you, I don't know, maybe they go hand in hand a little bit, but I consider myself the parent. And I think nowadays parenting is getting really undervalued. Like there's something for being said for there being a line between their parent and their friend. They have lots of friends. They only have 2 parents.
Right.
So I need to be the parent. But you can still be a parent that's fun and has a good relationship with your kids, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like worried about being their buddy either.
Right.
I was just going to say, it's funny because I actually feel like I'm dealing with this with Braylee already.
Interesting.
Because if she gets mad at me, she'll say, you're not my friend. And I've had to so many times sit her down and say, I'm not your friend, Braylee. I want to have a good relationship with you, and I will always be here for you, and I want, you know, everything to be open like a friendship, but I'm your mom.
Right.
And what I say, I'm the boss, and, you know, what I say is important, and I'm not trying to be your friend. If I say clean your room, yeah, I mean that, you know, it's something as simple as that, but I feel like I'm already dealing with that.
That's so interesting.
So scared.
Yeah. This is an awful comparison, but the movie Mean Girls, the mom on there that's like trying so hard to be her friend. You know what I'm talking about? Has anybody seen that movie?
Definitely.
Terrible comparison, but it just like I thought of that instantly. And that her daughter was such a brat, and she didn't even. I mean, she treated her mother like a friend, and was just like. But I'm a firm believer. Kids need structure. They need guidelines. They need somebody to lead them and to tell them no and to discipline them, because where else are they going to get that in the world? And you can definitely pick out the kids in schools and classrooms that have parents that are friends and are like in and out of their life, and then kids who are guided and structured and have a firm hand in their life. You can tell the difference in them.
I also feel like children need to be taught to have respect.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that is the big issue today, is parents are trying to be their friends, because it kind of is a helpless feeling sometimes as a parent to know what to do. So you want to have a good relationship, and it gets confused, but kids are not being taught to respect their parents, and then they're not respecting others. Respect is so important, and it needs to be taught.
Yeah, even watching Logan, how he talks to my mom, I'm like, you would have punched me in the face, Mom, if I would talk to you how Logan does. But I don't really think it's necessarily my mom's parenting has changed. It's just like the generation and how, like you said, respect has been very lost, I think.
I think you have to be friends enough where they can feel they can open up to you and talk to you and feel you're going to listen to them. Like maybe, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I feel because I'm a single mom, I would want to be her friend so much. Like I feel like I owe her even more.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I think about it quite a lot because I always call her my BFF too. She's like my little shadow that follows me everywhere.
I think a greater word for it would be trust. I think you can, instead of maybe teaching our kids, like you can teach them about friendship, but I would rather have Cooper trust me rather than having a friendship with him. And I think trust is more than a friendship.
Right.
And so kind of balancing that, and I don't know.
I actually think that the friends will come around anyway. I think that when your kids get older, then you morph into friends. When they're out on their own with their own kids, then you're friends. But when they're in your home and you're still in those developmental years, you're the parent.
Yeah.
But I still think, I agree with you, I think you can be, there's a happy medium.
Yeah, some parents are too strict where they
Yes.
feel they can't even, like, they actually don't even like their parents because they feel they can't even be themselves around them.
And it may depend what part of friend you're emphasizing. Like
Yeah,
if the part
what does
of
it
friend
mean?
that you mean is the open, supportive, nurturing part, then that seems to be an obvious components you want in a relationship. But if the friend part is the equality part, that's the part where it feels like you don't want that to be the relationship. And I think you're right. I mean, I had a friend in high school whose mom always was, offering to buy us, alcohol and hanging out and driving us around. And she at first everyone thought, oh, that's so cool, you've got the cool mom, but I mean she was a very unhappy child. It is, I think, parents' jobs. I can speak because I don't have any kids. I think this is how parents are, but I do think it's hard because I struggle this just in leadership, that you want your kids to like you. You want the people that you're leading to like you, and so you want to say yes to them. But sometimes the harder, less selfish choice is actually to say no and be disliked and not be a friend and have Braylee be like, you're not my friend, but you're parenting her better.
Yeah. I jokingly say to my kids, if you go to bed not liking me, I have successfully parented today.
Wow, that's really interesting.
And kids forget too fast. You might get into a fight and then like the next day it's fine.
Yeah.
They get so much
easy
love.
to forgive.
Yeah.
Well, I remember getting in so many lectures, like, from my dad, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm rolling my eyes again. All this, and I look back and I'm like, I'm so glad that he did that. Just like I talked about in my Father's Day video, it's just, he was there for me, and he was the bad guy when, it would have been very easy to be like, oh, honey, whatever you want to do, it's fine, I support you. But he was right, he was right in being the bad guy.
I think it's hard as parents, is to see the light at the end of the tunnel, like you said, sometimes we parent and we may not get immediate gratification in patching up a relationship, but it's like hoping for the future that maybe our kids will come around and be like, you know what, you were right, Mom, or I am grateful for the things that you did do, because they're not smart enough to see our wise years that we're planning for their future lives.
The other funny thing is I remember different arguments or conversations with him thinking, oh my gosh, she's totally right now.
At the time, you knew.
There's no way I would have admitted it. No way would I have.
But you knew at the time. That's really funny, too. What about the second part of the question? What about if your kid is friends, if your child is friends with somebody who you may think is a bad example?
I guess I had a group of friends that were kind of naughty, and my parents were strict with me, and they did not let me hang out with them. They didn't let me go to parents' houses who they knew those kids were sneaking out, and they were pretty strict. And I actually have friends now that will say, I'm going to parent just like your parents did. I'm going to do that. I'm going to be strict, because it's scary. It scares me so bad. I'm going to be dealing with that soon.
That's right.
I think it goes back to that trust issue too. Like, I remember my parents telling me, like, why can't I go to this party? Why can't I do this? And it's like, it's not because they don't trust you. I just don't trust the kids that you're with.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay? So that was always hard for me at the time, but now I look back and I'm like, that's true. So I didn't feel like I was in trouble. They just let me know, like, I trust you with your decisions, but I just want to put you in good places where you don't have to be compromised,
I had a lot of friends younger that were doing drugs and stuff, and my dad always would say, I know you have a good head on your shoulder and you make good decisions. And it's true, and I did. So I was able to be around groups of people. They weren't my best friends, but I was wise enough to just kind of separate myself. So it depends on how your kid is too, if they can be easily influenced or not.
Do you feel, have any of you had any even beginnings of experiences with you don't need to name their names, but any kids that you feel already are kind of worrying you that your children are hanging out with or have been? Right.
I'm like, all of our kids hang out
Obviously,
together.
right. Well, we know that's trouble. Okay, or if you haven't, I mean, it does feel to me like ideal if you've raised your child and you trust them, that it would be difficult to say, I'm questioning who you're hanging out with right now. How would you have that conversation, or how would you go about that?
I would just be open and honest until I will tell my kids exactly what I think.
Yeah. I had a friend, I had a situation in high school. I was a sophomore, I just made cheerleading, I was on varsity, like, I wanted to be friends with all these girls, because our high school, 4 different middle schools feed into it, and it was like, the bigger high school in Pocatello, and So I remember making friends with this one particular girl, and she was from the other, and so I was like, I'm gonna like everyone to be nice. And from day one, my mom just did not like her, and she's like, I'm like, why? We don't even know, like, you know nothing about her, Mom. You can't judge her. Judging's bad. Like, give her credit, and just from day one, she did not like her, did not want me hanging out with her. And it was hard because I remember, like, on the weekends, I almost felt like I was, like, lying to my mom because I would hang out with her and talk to her at school, and we cheered, so we were always together. We were, like, stunt partners, so we were always together. But I felt like it was like a division. There was things in my life that were happening at school that I didn't want to go home and tell my mom because I knew she hated this girl. But what was I doing? Because she was cheering. And so I wish that I would have just been like, I wish me and my mom could have had more open communication, just talked about it and through it. And I think she was like protecting me in a way. She did know things about that I know about her now. I'm like, oh yeah, I would not let my daughter have hung out with her.
Oh,
but
so she did have she had reasons. She just didn't share.
And I think she's because I was so naive and I probably didn't know what those things were at the time, so she wasn't going to lay them out for me. But sometimes I think that that's what needs to happen, because if I would have known that then, I would have been like, yeah, I don't want to hang out with her.
It's hard though, because I actually had something happen to me. Not that I was a bad kid, but I had a friend that I wanted to have come over to my house, and I called her and we talked about it, and she called me back and said, I'm sorry, I can't come to your house because my mom said your mom got pregnant in high school.
Oh, wow.
So it's like,
gosh.
you have to be open with your children, but you need to explain things in the right way and talk about it. So
wow.
And teach them not
so
to
it's
be
scary.
awful.
I know that. I guess that is kind of an example, but I'm just thinking about being open and honest. And as a parent, you need to explain why, because you don't want your kid to go to school and be like, I can't hang out with you because you did this, and my mom heard this about you.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure to talk to your kids and say, these are the reasons. This is what we believe. This is,
I think getting to know, like, friends' parents.
Yeah.
My mom would always call if I said I was going to somebody's house. She'd be like, is their parents there? Let me call them. Let me talk to them. Let me drive you there. Let me make sure they're there. Like, and she did those things, but I'm like, I'm totally going to do that, because how many kids are like, I'm going to this kid's house, their parents are there, and the parents don't follow up. Because now I'm like, I see my little brother doing things, and I'm like, I'm not okay with this, Logan. I know what you're doing, and I'm not okay with this. And it's crazy to me how many parents just are not involved in their kids' life. Like, girls, their parents letting them out. Logan was at prom, and his date's, like, curfew was the same time as his, so my mom was grateful. But some people in his group were like 3, 4 a.m. I'm like, nothing good is going to come out of 4 a.m. curfews. And it's like, what are their parents thinking? Yeah, on prom. Like,
well, Suntard actually this year came up to me and was like, Mom, I don't know what to do. There were some kids at the playground, or my friends at the playground wanted to pretend like we were drinking and smoking, and naturally I was like, this is what I was thinking, what's going to happen, and, as a parent, you just want to protect your kids so much, but the bottom line is you can't control who they're going to be with, especially in school. I mean, there's all types of kids in the school and in their classes, so you can't control everything that they're going to be doing and who they're with, but I just... I tried to explain to him, well, it's up to you to be a good example, and don't be afraid to say, you know what, I don't want to play that, you guys. It's not fun, and that's not really cool, and, don't be afraid of that. And I know that will take time to learn, because as a kid, you don't want to make your friends not like you. You want to be liked. But I think it's just keep teaching them that, and eventually, hopefully they make the right decision, but it's really ultimately up to them. And I think that part of being the parent and not being the friend is being able to teach them that, and trust them that they're going to do the right thing. I don't know.
And then when you see them do the things that, like, acknowledge that and be like, I'm proud of you, and I know that was hard for you. Because some kids, I think, Cooper does really well on praise, especially, like, vocally. Like, he always wants to know if he's doing things right. And so even, like, when he does share, I'm like, that was so good of you to share, buddy, because I know that's hard for you.
Yeah,
so,
give him praise for making the right decisions.
Have you guys dealt with your friends being, your kids' friends having parents you don't like?
Yes.
Again.
I have.
Really?
One of my daughters had a friend who happened to be kind of a bully at school. And the mother, she was an only child. And I mean, I understand it comes with sometimes being the only child, but that mother just worshipped that daughter, and she could just do no wrong. And this little girl was just mean. And the mother could not talk to her. So in those circumstances, I think it's even harder. Because then you think, your first resources go to the parent.
Yeah.
But when the parent's totally on board with the kid, then you just hope, okay, let's just stay away from them.
Yeah. And I think in a lot of cases that's how it usually is. Like coaching cheerleading and watching girls and watching the girls how they interact with each other, and I'm like, then the parents come like, yeah, I know why you act like that. Because your mom does.
Mindy, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It was really fun to talk about these things, and I am very excited to go to your YouTube channel and look at more cute girls' hairstyles that Kaylee can do to me. So we have a giveaway, and I'm going to bring it out and give it to you. It is a home decor kit. So there are some candlesticks and a picture frame and a coin purse. And if you go to our Facebook page and tell us your opinion, do you want to be best friends with your mom or dad? Do you want to be best friends with your kid? What do you think? Friend, no friend? Give us your thoughts. We'll pick a comment and you can win this gift basket. Leave your comments, questions below, and thank you.
Bye, guys.